Hey, what's up, stock compounders? Brad here. So today we're going to learn about NFTs, non-fungible tokens, and we're going to learn about them from Gary Vaynerchuk. So I have a long history with Gary Vaynerchuk. He's actually the guy who inspired me to start my YouTube channel. And before I got my YouTube channel going, I had an Instagram page that I was building for about a year and a half. Got it up to 35,000 followers. So Gary, he is a mastermind when it comes to digital, when it comes to these social platforms, and really just growing a brand through, these digital platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, you name it, he's on it. So we're going to watch two clips from Gary from this video on YouTube, just came out 2 days ago. NFTs will make you an artist the same way Instagram made you an influencer. Gary Vaynerchuk is so bullish on NFTs, okay? And you're going to hear about that in these clips that I pull out. But first, I just want to give a quick definition. What is an NFT? Just to kind of set the stage here. So a non-fungible token, okay, that's what an NFT is. It's a unit of data on a digital ledger where each unit can represent a unique digital item, and thus the units are not interchangeable. That's what non-fungible means. They're unique. They're not interchangeable. Things outside the digital world are non-fungible as well. Property, real estate. Every piece of real estate is different. And obviously there's a lot of other things, artworks, original artworks, many non-fungible items. But this is different in that it's digital, right? It's on the internet. NFTs can represent digital files such as digital art, audio, so music can be turned into NFTs, video, YouTube videos, whatever video content, and other forms of digital creative work. So that's kind of an overview about what NFT means. Now we're going to jump into the two clips in here. The first clip is really Gary talking about why do NFTs matter, okay? Is this thing a fad? Is it just going to disappear? Or will it have staying power? And Gary kind of presents his case for why these things have staying power. The second clip I'm going to show, what are Gary's plans for the NFT space, really investment plans, business plans. So we're going to jump into those clips now, and then afterwards we'll kind of break them down.
What's your favorite movie of all time?
I think I'm going to have to go with Godfather 1.
Great. Is there any level of curiosity for you to figure out who the first person to buy the first ticket to the first showing of Godfather 1 was?
Yeah, that would be interesting.
That's all you need to know. And it's very important because I'm using a very narrow example that everybody can understand. I believe that people do not realize that we are social creatures. For example, I think, Frank, that you have a mustache right now because you want to communicate to the world something about yourself with it. I'm being dead serious with you. And I think Andres has long hair, and I think people wear Gucci belts and buy Nike Air Force Ones and drive Mercedes and care about having a blue check mark on Instagram and buy Fortnite skins and Madden tokens. And I can give you 47 other trillion examples to why this is going to work out, which is the following. Humans want to communicate with humans. So, for example, everybody listening right now, they meet someone new, whether they think they're cute and they want to date them or they want to do business with them and they thought it was something important. They will go to either commonly in today's world, Google to Google them, or Instagram to see what they're about. Those are two things that I think the three of us, or if I'm not supposed to keep bringing Andres in, Frank, you can agree with me. That is what people do, right? I think we can all agree. I believe that when I meet you in 12 years, and I'm already enjoying this convo, I'm going to go to your public ledger and I'm going to search and I'm going to see that you also are into snorks. The rare underwater Smurfs from the 80s, or you're into Voltron, or this and that, because I'm going to see it. And I'll give you another example. I'll be able to see that you were one of the first 500 fans of Nirvana, because Nirvana in 2027 put out their first demo and sold NFTs against it. And it will document who knew who Nirvana was. And that would have happened in 1991 if NFT was around. To give you another point of view, Nirvana may sell 10% of its first songs master, its demo tape master, and you might be able to get 1% commissions because you bought it. Like, there's a lot here, and I'm going fast and giving some random examples, but social currency is the word that people have to wrap their head around with NFTs. Mm-hmm. And I believe the ledger, like, I'll give you another example. If NFTs had been around forever, I'd probably be looking right now on the blockchain on the ledgers to find things that Randy the Macho Man Savage once owned, because I want to own them in my wallet because I care about provenance. And that's going to become the biggest aha to everybody. When I can feel like the energy in my soul, like, this is big for me. And so I want to be very thoughtful on like how I capture this energy. But I can tell you the following. These are facts, because I want to give you some scoops, because I like you guys. It's impossible that I go to the grave unless I die very quickly here, which would be very sad, without launching my own NFT product. But it's not going to be Gary V photos. Like, I'm not doing the influencer thing. There is no chance that I'm not investing in the shovels and the picks, the platforms. I've already personally and more institutionally feel that I will invest in projects. Meaning, I have bought some hashbacks and CryptoPunks as Gary the Human. I plan on doing that more institutionally, raising capital and doing it against companies, which is very different than what I did in 05, right? In 95, I built on top of it. WineLibrary.com, I believe in the internet. In 05, I was like, I've learned. I'm not going to just do that. I'm going to invest in the companies and build up the Gary V brand, and that worked. In 2021 with NFTs, I'm going to invest in the platforms. I'm going to invest in projects because I'm good at it. It's like sports cards. And I think I have the creativity. What I did for I'm the brains behind Gary V. And I think I can do that to something more scalable. All three are in the cards for me, sir.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed those clips. Let's dive into them. So the first one, humans want to communicate with humans, right? Gary Vaynerchuk is of the opinion that NFTs matter because it allows us to find out what people are actually interested in. What are they passionate about? Kind of look at that history ledger, that public ledger. Instead of learning about people through Google or Instagram like we do now, we're just going to go to their public ledger and see where the commonalities are. It's a way to kind of connect with people around similar interests. And Gary shares the story. I believe that when I meet you in 12 years, I'm going to go to your public ledger and I'm going to see that you also are into snorks, the rare underwater Smurfs from the 80s. Kind of a funny example. I'll also be able to see that you were one of the first 500 fans of Nirvana, right? This is obviously Nirvana of 2027, the Nirvana that nobody has seen yet. Another interesting thing, we talked about this definition of non-fungible. Gary thinks musicians are going to be selling their albums through NFTs and, maybe offering 100 gold albums, right? Where you can buy the token that gives you access to not just the album, but some perk, right? You own this NFT and now, you get into every future concert for free, or you get in backstage. And Gary is actually planning on using these things, perhaps to get into his keynote talks, to, meet over dinner when he's in your town, whatever it is, whatever you can imagine, you can create with these NFTs. So, and he's actually rethinking the book deal that he is in negotiations with, of kind of pushing the book out through NFTs. where he can offer these perks to people who get in early or people who are willing to pay a premium for, these side benefits of what he's selling. So many opportunities there. And then really the kind of punchline for why NFTs matter. Social currency is what people have to wrap their heads around with NFTs. Social currency. And he also mentioned the word provenance, and I didn't actually know what provenance was, so I looked it up. Provenance is a record of ownership of a work of art or an antique, used as a guide to authenticity or quality. Okay, so it's really this record of ownership that that's where the power of these NFTs are. You can see the record of ownership, not to prove, not necessarily to say, hey, I have this digital thing, I own it. Because obviously anyone can just download that digital thing, and you can't tell a difference if you're looking at it on the computer. But you can see a record of ownership, right? And that record of ownership communicates to people what you care about, what you believe in, the values that you have. And, it's starting to grow on me a little bit, but it's just a very different framework for how I've thought about these things in the past. But Gary may be on to something. So let's get into the second clip here where Gary talks about what his plans are in the space. How Gary is going to participate in the NFT space. First, we'll launch his own NFT product. Okay, we have no idea what that is. It might be his next book. It might be around his keynote speeches. It might be something he's never offered before. So I'll be very curious to see what comes of that. The second thing, we'll invest in pick and shovels, right? The platforms that are selling these NFTs. Top Shot is one, for example, selling these NBA moments. Obviously, Top Shot has just gotten a ton of attention recently. I've waited in line to get Top Shot packs a couple of times, and there's always like over 100,000 people in line. And of course, they're selling like 20,000 packs or something like that. So I've never even gotten close. But invest in the pick and shovels platforms. I don't think he knows what these are going to be yet. And he equates this with kind of the early internet days, right? The mid to late 1990s. Gary knew the internet was going to be big, right? He knew it was going to change the world. But it was too early to tell who the winners were going to be. Like 98% of internet companies in the late 90s disappeared. Okay? So he's not in a hurry to invest in these platforms. He wants to really do his research and make sure that there's enough substance, enough of a track record, enough execution to dissect, to be able to pick which of these platforms are likely to win. And then third, we'll personally and institutionally invest in projects. Okay. I actually think the projects Top Shot would be a project. It's not the platform. I think the platform would be like Flow. I believe Flow is the blockchain that Top Shots is built on top of. So again, this is all very fresh for me. I'm learning as I go. We'll personally and institutionally invest in projects. So he's already done some investing personally in terms of buying individual NFTs for his own collection. But he's planning on institutionally investing, raising outside capital to make investments in the NFT space. So he is hugely bullish on NFTs. And, he talks about how kind of the first iteration of this digital revolution was in the 90s, right? The internet. And in 95, when the internet came out, he built on top of it. He built Wine Library, took his wine business from a brick and mortar model onto the internet. Okay, so he built on top of the internet. In 2005, the social media revolution kind of went underway with Facebook, Google, YouTube, Instagram, all of that stuff, Twitter, of course. So he built on top of those to build his personal brand, to take advantage of the attention arbitrage that was being offered on those platforms. So many eyeballs on the platforms, so many fewer people actually creating content for those platforms. So that's what Gary did, content on as many platforms as he could find. But not only did he build on top of it, he invested in a number of those companies, notably Facebook and Twitter, kind of in the mid 2000s. So now we have the third evolution, in Gary's opinion, in terms of digital transformative technologies. In 2021 with NFTs, he's going to invest in the platforms, he's going to invest in projects, and he's going to launch his own thing. Okay, so this is he's said, I don't remember if it was this particular talk or if it was a video a couple days ago, but he basically said his whole life has been building up to the skill set that's going to allow him to just completely flourish in this NFT environment. So really fun it's going to be really fun to track Gary Vaynerchuk, what he does in this space. Hopefully he shares kind of what he's investing in. We're going to see his projects, obviously. So I'm excited about this. And I know it's very easy to look at NFTs and look at how much money people have been spending on, a single piece of digital art and just write it off as a complete bubble, as something that's going to go away. Now, Gary would say, yeah, it does feel like a bubble. And a lot of the projects, a lot of the art pieces that people are buying now are going to be uncomfortably volatile over the next 2 years or so. Volatile to the downside, right? A lot of people who are investing in the space right now are going to get hurt big time. They're going to get wiped out. So it's a time to be patient. It's a time to learn about the technology, to learn about the revolution that's starting, rather than get worried about missing out and plow capital into this stuff. It's a time to really understand what implications this has, the NFT space. So that's what I wanted to share, guys. Gary Vaynerchuk, awesome guy to learn from about NFTs. And I mean, honestly, I'm still skeptical, but I can feel the place in myself where I'm skeptical primarily because I don't understand. Okay, and that makes sense. It's probably wise to be skeptical about things that we don't understand. But we have two paths, really. One path is we can say, okay, I don't understand, so this thing isn't going anywhere. This thing doesn't have staying power, so I'm not going to learn anything about it. There's another path. It's like, okay, I'm skeptical, but there's some really smart people in the space. There's some, phenomenal entrepreneurs who are, seeming pretty bullish on, non-fungible tokens. So, maybe it's worth learning something about it. Maybe it's worth trying to create a piece of digital art and putting it on one of these platforms like OpenSea or Rarible or whatever it is, and just get familiar with the space rather than just letting the space completely pass you by. Because, I think there's a good chance the next Amazon, right? The next Amazon level business, transformative business, could be in this space. And if we don't know anything about this space, if we don't start learning about the space in small bites now, it may just be too hard to catch up. And, that opportunity may just pass you right by because, you've put it off for so long, you've pushed NFTs away, and now, it's the same with cryptos, right? How many people, when they first heard about Bitcoin, thought, Bitcoin, what is that? That's never going to work. That doesn't make any sense, right? And so they pushed it away. And that initial pushing away actually paves the way to continue pushing it away until, look where we are now with cryptocurrencies. Not that Bitcoin is going to be a great investment or Ethereum is going to be a great investment, but clearly there's something transformative happening here. So, I would encourage you guys, learn about it. Learn about NFTs. And I'll just leave you with that. I'm committed to continue learning about them. Probably give, periodic updates on my channel here. Again, not something I'm investing in at the moment. Something I'm just trying to educate myself on. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. With that, I will see you all in the next video. Take care.